I like a good steak. I'm constantly told to avoid all junk foods because they're bad for my health.
Serious red flags about ultra-processed foods.
The effect on our health of eating junk food.
73% of the U.S. food supply.
Linking them to millions of premature deaths worldwide.
But what if some aren't as bad as others? To answer this question, I eat different junk foods for 2 weeks to test their impacts on my blood sugar levels. First stop, the candy aisle. Let's go. Now we need to get our blood glucose monitor. I don't know how it works in different countries, but in Canada, you can walk into almost any pharmacy and get one. Let's go. So we got our sensor. It wasn't cheap, $120 for 14 days of tracking, but hopefully over time the price will come down to make it more accessible to more people. Okay, we got our junk food. Boom, done. So there's an actual test called the blood glucose tolerance test, which measures how well your body processes glucose after consuming a standardized glucose solution. It's used to diagnose conditions like prediabetes, type 2 diabetes, and gestational diabetes. The test procedure typically requires an overnight fast of at least 8 hours. And then the individual drinks a 75-gram glucose solution, and blood samples are collected 1 and 2 hours afterwards to see how well the body clears glucose from the bloodstream. I thought this would be a great model for my experiments because the procedure and interpretation of results have been validated. So for the purposes of this test, I'm gonna break my fast every day at noon, which is when I typically eat my first meal. But instead of my first meal, I'm gonna eat the calorie equivalent of 75 grams of glucose, which is 300 calories of the day's test food. So we have our sensor, the Freestyle Libre 2. Let's see how this works. I need a second for the instructions. French and English, same side. Then press down firmly. Not scared of needles, but all right, no, I'm good, I'm good. That wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad, honestly. Done. Done. Now, full disclosure, I'm not an expert, but I do have some experience. My undergrad degree is in nutrition, and I studied in a diabetes research lab while in undergrad and after I graduated for about 4 years. Plus, I've been an athlete for most of my life, so I'm completely nutrition, fitness, and health obsessed. But please take this video with a grain of salt. This is just my experience. So what are my predictions? Well, I have a pretty healthy diet. My fast food of choice is Chipotle. And if I do want to indulge in something, I tend to try to find the healthier alternative. So I have no idea how my body's gonna react. But what I am curious about is if eating more junk food and having more spikes in blood glucose over the next 2 weeks will change how my body reacts to eating sugar. Like, can my body become more insulin resistant in just 2 weeks? To answer this specific question, I planned for the first day and last day to be the exact same test food. I chose gummies because they're basically just pure sugar. Then from day 2 to 13, I've included popular junk foods constantly ranked as the worst for our health. All right, so I'm gonna fast tonight and I'll see you at noon tomorrow for our first test food. Here we go, I have my scale and my nerds. So here's 87 grams, 300 calories of our nerds. I'm not a gummy connoisseur, so I looked at the top ranked gummies and these consistently come up as #1. They're that good. And apparently even the Kelce brothers are fans, like big fans. Doesn't want to go in. Sure lie about a lot of things. Personally, I'm much more of a chocolates fan. I think people tend to either be gummies fans or chocolate fans. I could easily go in a world without gummies. I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't crave this. I'm not addicted to this. But chocolate, yes. So this is probably the last time I'm gonna eat these. I mean, other than for this challenge, but I'm not a huge fan. They're eating a big block. It's huge. So are we done? Whoa. Day 1 complete. Now we'll just see how high my blood glucose goes. This was the worst day of the whole experiment. I felt like shit for the rest of the day. You can see from the graph the sharp rise and fall in blood glucose levels. This is not a food I crave or even like, so it's definitely going into the category of never eating again. Let's get the big pieces. 58 grams. If you're gonna do it, I might as well do it, right? Here we go. 58 grams. Is this a taste of my childhood? Let's see. These are fine, but there's better ones out there now compared to 15 years ago when I last had Miss Vicky's. Fun fact, these are crafted in Canada, apparently. I don't even know what that means. These days there's so many loopholes in food. Crafted in Canada. Are the potatoes from Canada? Are they made in Canada? Are they packaged in Canada? What's in Canada? What's happening? Done. I try to avoid eating these types of foods because I finish these no problem. The rest of the bag could easily go. And that's, oh, so this is over 1,000 calories. And you could easily go through this in 5 minutes. For a lot of people, that's almost half of your days of calories in this bag. It's so easy to overeat them. It's so easy to overeat these. So chips had a very low impact. Although low in sugar, it is high in carbs, but also fat. And that's a trend I saw, that if the food had both sugar and fat, it had less of an impact than just sugar. I'm gonna put this one in the category of the rare indulgence because chips are still very dangerous for me, not because of blood glucose levels, but because I can't just stop at one. Chips are evil. So no, Steph, what is this white girl stuff? What is this coconut-based ice cream? I'm lactose intolerant. Not to an extreme, but it goes liquid in one side and liquid out the other side. And I do not want to spend the night on the toilet. And I looked at the nutrition facts and they're similar to other ice creams. So there's not like keto ice cream or necessarily a better for you. In 3/4 of a cup, there's 24 grams of sugar. This is where Whole Foods, for me, the argument always wins, is that I'm not gonna overeat apples. I'm not gonna overeat sweet potatoes. I'm not gonna overeat steak to the point where I'm going way above my calorie requirements. If I eat this all day, hell yes, I'm going over my calorie requirements. If I eat chips, gummies, chocolate, ice cream all day long, Coke, for sure, without even thinking about it, and I would still be hungry. Like just above 200, and it was 202 milliliters was 300 calories. So we're just above 200. Overwhelmingly coconut. Overwhelming coconut. You don't really get any other flavor. You got some chocolate chunks, but the cookie dough is not coming through. 2 big clumps of cookie dough. We'll see. It just tastes like balls of sugar. Cookie dough has a distinctive taste. That's another thing about ice cream, is that you have to eat it fast because if not, it melts. So this whole idea of like chewing your food, enjoying your food, you can enjoy it. Of course you're gonna enjoy ice cream, but it's not something you can really take your time with, versus with chips or some other food, you can put it down, you can have a bite, you can put it down, you don't have to all eat it at once. Versus this, I can't leave it and then come back to it. I mean, you're gonna take a spoonful of ice cream, put it back in the freezer, take a spoonful of ice cream, put it back in the freezer. I guess you could, but I'm not a psychopath. What's your favorite ice cream brand and what's your favorite flavor? Curious. And I was really looking forward to cookie dough, and this is not satisfying, so I just want to go and get a hunk of cookie dough and eat cookie dough, like raw cookie dough. This, I could keep going. And probably through this tub and another one if you offered it. So yeah, that's day 3. Ice cream, we'll see how it goes, and I'll check in with you tomorrow. Ice cream, again, very little impact. I'm gonna put this one in the rare indulgence because I would finish the whole tub easily. And today there are so many healthier alternatives, and also the Ninja Creamy, you can make protein ice cream. This is not something I will be purchasing again. Smell my childhood. Now, when we're talking about junk food and candy that I love, it's Reese's. 60 grams. Can you get better than chocolate and peanut butter as a combination for candy? No. It's freaking delicious. It hits hard with the sugar at the end, with the sweetness. And you can tell, and you know, doesn't really taste like a quality chocolate, but The peanut butter. The peanut butter is the winner for me for Reese's. Last cup. I love how they leave that little bit and you're supposed to lick it. At least that's what they do in the commercials. So we had our 3.5 cups. We're done. I think my blood sugar will go up. Not as much as the gummies. Satisfied, it's good. I could eat more though. I could always eat more. That's the thing with junk food. Never satisfied. Just moments of mouth pleasure that you wish could go on until you get sick and you feel like shit. And then you regret it and you do it all over again. But treat yourself, obviously. And again, I like to try to find healthier alternatives to treat myself with or make them at home. I don't think there's anything wrong with cake, I don't think, but especially if you make it yourself. Then you know what's going into it, you know how much is going into it, and you have a little bit more control over that. And it's still equally delicious. So find a way to treat yourself because life is short. Okay, so this one barely had any impact as well. Not even a tiny peak. So this one is going into the new cheat food because I absolutely love everything peanut butter and chocolate. And I was definitely more satisfied with 300 calories of Reese's than 300 calories of the ice cream or chips. So I will definitely be eating peanut butter cups in some form again soon. Here is 300 calories of rice cakes. That's a lot, right? And yesterday I had 3.5 cups of Reese's peanut butter cups, just tiny little cups, 3.5 cups. And that was 300 calories. Here I have a stack of rice cakes. There's no comparison. It's boring, right? I just got the plain ones. Another interesting point on the rice cakes is that it's taken me 12 minutes to eat 8 rice cakes. With the Reese's cups, I could have eaten those 3.5 cups in 30 seconds. Just put them all in your mouth, all at once. Yes, my mouth is wide enough. So this one was a surprising one for me because rice cakes are definitely seen as a healthy option. But rice cakes have a very high glycemic index, which is basically the blood glucose raising potential of a food. It ranks above cornflakes, jelly beans, and donuts, which is insane. Just because of the volume, I'll keep them in the occasional treat. But let's be honest, nobody's eating rice cakes on their cheat day. Yes, I did not go with the original. I went with birthday cake. I'm not a big Oreos fan. Sacrilegious, potentially. All right, so 2 cookies is 140 calories. What? 2 cookies are 140 calories. All right, so basically we're eating 4 cookies. 4 cookies for 300 calories, that's insane. Let's see. Oh my goodness, I did it wrong. I am such an Oreo noob. So I opened the package from the top. They put a peel here so that your cookies don't get stale. That tells you how few junk foods and Oreos I actually consume. What's going on here? Oh my goodness, there's actually very few Oreos in here. There's a big chunk of plastic here on the side that makes it feel like you're eating Oreos from side to side. I'm gonna take out the carton to show you. So this is the tray of Oreos. They're easily skimping on 2 Oreos per side. There's 6 Oreos missing from this pack. So what did I say? 62 grams. All right, let's see. We have 4 Oreos and basically a quarter. It's just sugar. Like cheap junk food is so one-dimensional. It's just sugar in different formats. This tastes like cardboard to me. It just dissolves. You take a couple bites and your saliva already just melts away the cookie. This is a better ratio for me of frosting to cookie. That. We'll turn this last one into a double stuffed. 300 calories is nothing for Oreos. Last time I eat Oreos, maybe ever. Doesn't do it for me. Similar to the Reese's, barely a spike, just a dip and then back to normal. I don't crave these, it's not my thing, so I'm gonna put these in the rare indulgence. So I did Coke on the day I was filming. No way was I gonna chug a Coke before I started filming. So it went late and then I chugged Coke and I was meeting a friend for a walk. So I was skeptical of the results because they definitely say Coke is the worst for you, or like sugar sweetened beverages, and not seeing any impact. So I decided to redo Coke on day 9. So day 8, cereal, breakfast of champions. It's crazy how easily Americans adopted a bowl of sugar for breakfast. This had a bigger impact than Coke, which is insane. You can see day 9, Coke part 2, it didn't go as high, and also the same low, which is crazy. Cereal and Coke are both going into the never again because there are so many tasty and healthier alternatives. I felt like shit afterwards. It's so not worth it. That's the problem with Clif, and they are very, very popular, and that's why I chose them, because they have this health halo, especially with the little climber on the top. But the actual demographic that should be eating these things are the exact thing on the cover. Rock climbers, hikers, something where you're using a lot of calories and need something quick, dense, to fill up and to get that energy, because one bar is 250 calories. 250 calories for one bar. I've had Clif bars in the past. I've been an athlete. I have had Clif bars. They don't taste the best. If you're gonna choose an energy bar, if you're gonna have a protein bars even taste better than Clif bars. It's been a while since I've had a Clif bar, so maybe they've improved their formulation. I've heard tips that if you put it in the oven and you heat it up, some people put it in the microwave, I prefer the oven, it actually tastes good. With the cookies and cream, nice, good effort. Look at this thing, 250 calories, that's a lot. It's a lot. All right, 40 grams, 300 calories of Clif bars. We got our cookies and cream and oatmeal raisins. There's a crunchy bit in here that's really not good. It's the soy rice crisps, right? Soy rice crisps. Roasted soybeans? Chicken root fiber, that's nasty. All right, I'm going with the cookies and cream. Like, I can get they're trying to go for the cookies and cream, but it misses the mark. They're such a big company now, they have the resources to make better products. Last bite, I'll sandwich them in together. I don't know if you can see, but when sugar is the first ingredient, don't buy it. There's better. There's definitely way better. That's all I have to say. Couple days left. I'm missing my protein at noon, but we'll continue on for the sake of this challenge, and we'll see how we go. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest surprises of them all. Clif Bar was the second worst food after gummies. And based off this experiment, worse than a chocolate bar. Save your calories, never eating again. Apple pie just cruised a low bump, but always stayed within a narrow range. I like pie, so it's going into the occasional treat. This one is gonna be hard for me because I'm gonna have to stop at 300 calories, and that's just not enough. So it's never enough. This is a food that I try to avoid because I know I will crave it, and it's gonna haunt me in my dreams tonight. So, you see that? 140. What? 140 calories in one cookie. It's bananas. All right, let's open these bad boys up. It's so sad. That's 300 calories. Look at that. Isn't that sad? I had a stack of rice cakes. Remember when I had that stack of rice cakes on my scale? And now I am literally not even 2 cookies. It's 300 calories. Oatmeal raisin cookies. This is what my dreams are made of. Cookies are my jam. I love them, especially oatmeal raisin. Call me a granny, I don't care. My blood glucose didn't go that high, but it definitely came down hard. And I didn't feel that great afterward. These are going into the rare indulgence because I can make some freaking delicious, healthy cookies at home. Honey dip donut, look at that big thing. It's from the local bakery, but it's a monstrosity. Look at that sugar on top. It's like super fluffy. Look at that baby. So I'm now starting to crave sugar around noon. This is we're at day 13 now. But anyways, tomorrow's the last day. I'm really not looking forward to it because I know how much of an influence those gummies have on me. Looking forward to moving on to the next challenge. So one more day tomorrow, our gummies, and then the results. Donuts, it stayed within a decent range. I haven't had donuts in a long time. Again, there are so many healthier alternatives out there, but I think I'm going to put this one in the occasional treat because I definitely forgot how delicious donuts are. So last day, day 14, gummies part 2. It seems like I had a worse response the second time, going up to 12.3 compared to day 1 when it went up to 10.9. These are going into never again. They are in my nightmares. I don't need this much sugar. So here are my takeaways from this experiment. So number 1, junk foods that are just pure sugar, like cereal, gummies, Coke, are way worse for my blood glucose levels than junk foods that have both sugar and fat, like Reese's, ice cream, and Oreos. And number 2, healthy snacks like rice cakes and Cliff Bars can actually be worse from a blood glucose perspective compared to many junk foods. And number 3, sugar can be very controlling. I normally have a lot of protein at lunch, and at the beginning, I was craving protein. But then as the days went on, and I was having more and more sugar at that noon time, I was actually starting to crave sugar, and towards the end, I couldn't wait for those donuts and cookies. And number 4 is calorie control. Satiety is an important consideration that I didn't measure. For some foods, I could have easily eaten double or triple and still not been satisfied. This is an important consideration because how many calories you eat affects your weight, and how much excess body fat you have affects your insulin resistance. It's a vicious cycle, and I'd rather pick a treat I won't overeat or crave for days. I also want to quickly touch on some limitations of the experiment. This wasn't a perfect experiment. I tried to control the other variables or confounding factors as much as possible, but it wasn't perfect. For example, on day 7, when I went for a walk after chugging the Coke, exercise plays a huge role on blood glucose levels, as well as sleep. And as a mother of 1-year-old twins, that's very inconsistent. And number 2, and most importantly, blood glucose is just one factor to consider when evaluating how healthy or unhealthy a food is. It's an important consideration, but shouldn't be the ultimate factor when deciding what to eat. Health, fitness, and nutrition are huge passions of mine that I hope to explore in future videos. So if you have any ideas for future topics, please let me know. That's it for me on this video. If you like the work that I do, please give it a big thumbs up. It really helps the algorithm get out to more people. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing. All right, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.